I'm your host, Queen Evelina, and this is WQEB 97.3. We got another exclusive interview for you guys. That's right, I've got Shealavera in the building. She is your healthy living and wellness guru. Say hey to the people, Shay.
Hey everyone.
Awesome sauce. Now, what you viewers may not know is Shay has been around for quite a while, and we've known each other for quite a while now, about like 2 years or so.
Yes, counting.
Right. And she been letting me get fat over here. She been letting me not eat right and everything.
No more.
Right. But that's okay, though, because she finna get me right and give me all the tips and everything that I need. Yes, Shay is also on TikTok. You can find her on all your social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, in addition to TikTok, which we'll drop those links. She'll drop those links on this stream for you to go check her out, her different social medias out. So when this stream is done, make sure you guys go to YouTube to check out the entire interview. So let's get to it, Shay. What made you decide to take this particular career path?
Wow, this goes back into my family. I'm a caretaker. So before I was a mom, I was always taking care of my mom. So the thing is to get her to become better and to fight all the things that were, making her ill, So it started back with taking care of my mom and being a mom and my kids, them suffering from just, everyday things like rashes, eczema, psoriasis. Those were like the number two things that my mom and my kids suffer from. So I knew that it was not only, it was from genetics, but it was environmental as well. So that's when my journey took off, when I started reading labels, when I started, tapping into different herbs and different plant-based items that, can help alleviate or even prevent some of these things from happening, because a lot of the over-the-counter stuff, they had a lot of fillers. They had a lot of things that we didn't understand. We had to open up the dictionary to understand these chemicals that were put on our skin. So,
right. Because even some foods, like there's some cereals and some sodas that are not allowed in other countries outside of the United States because of the side effects that it can have on their people. Interesting. What would you say is the most unique story that has happened to you since you started doing this particular work?
The unique story I have is when my dad died from lung cancer and it transferred to his brain.
Okay.
This went back to when he fought into the Vietnam War, when he was around the Agent Orange. And so when I followed the history about that, and it's just like, wow, our body is so amazing, you know what I mean? But it can only withstand around this stuff for so long. It comes to a point where we have to help that, you feel me, that oxidative stress, the Fukushima, the things that's happening to the water, to the soil. These things have an adverse effect. So why do I need to look at FDA to wait for their approval when we living and breathing this stuff on an everyday basis?
Okay.
So
we dug into this.
It's all based on experiences. Everybody knows someone that's suffering from something. And it happens quickly. You know what I mean? And it lives in our bodies as well. So as we are carriers, we're just going to keep carrying and just going to keep manifesting into something.
Okay. So as you begin doing your research on this journey, what would you say is the one chemical component you found that a majority of people still don't know to stay away from?
Parabens is in everything. THBQ, that's in chips, nips, the cheeses. Those are the items I used to feed my kids all the time. That's the same stuff that's in lighter fluid. Are you serious? So you telling me you're going to put it on my box that I'm eating and I'm paying for it, and it's in my face? It's ridiculous. ridiculous. Like how, I mean, what is the whole point of having these checkpoints? What are we checking for? Checking for the things that is cheap and then we can throw in the preservatives because we can make more of it, like corn. It's just, it's really sad. It's really sad because those are cancer-causing agents. Parabens, you got 3 different types of parabens, not just parabens by itself, but you got methylparabens, you got some other parabens, like I can't really pronunciate, but if you read your labels, you're going to see different types of parabens, and they're not going to be in brackets. So, and it's not going to tell you what they are. You have to go put that word in the search, and you have to Google it, or you need to go to your library and look that word up like old school fashion. So that's number one. Cancer is the number one thing. Everybody's been dying from cancer. So it's in our foods. It tells you right on the box, on the label. Your canned goods. That is in the food.
Okay. Well, with this wealth of knowledge comes a wealth of responsibility. So how do you, what would you say is your secret to thriving and not burning out?
Is incorporating a lot more fruits and vegetables in your diet. Because a lot of processed foods is tearing us down. It's taking away our energy. It's putting more diseases in our body. So that is like the number one thing. You have to get back to the root. If your body is made up of water and all these things, we're from the ground. So you got to think of the plant movement, the family. So if you intake that, you're going to go back to where you started. Don't go away from what you started because you want to get this Mickey D's McRib sandwich real fast. That's not going to help you.
Right.
Because you want to smell it when you poop it out. If you ain't checked in, then you ain't taking responsibility of your own self. So I stand by a plant-based diet. So I'm a distributor of giving my community a dosage of all their fruits and berries and veggies in capsules. So you don't even have to worry about eating this asparagus, eating this onion. Maybe you don't like those things, but you can still ingest these things straight from the plant, no processing. So I took the time to make sure my sources is legit before I give it to my family. And the number one thing is, not only if you get your order in, your kids get it free. It's a health study. We are focusing on your health.
Right. So how would you? So how would you describe your business in like 3 words?
Sustainable, self-sufficient, and self-aware.
Self-aware. That's a deep. That's deep right there. Self-aware. Okay, cool. Now you mentioned your family early on, and we know no man is an island. So who would you credit to helping you along the way?
This naturopathic doctor that I've been working with, her name is Dr. Nanani, and her husband, Dr. Valentine. They cure themselves from different cancers and illness, arthritis, the cancer, the different mucus and stuff in their bodies. I mean, they really help me and my family and my children. It's not just about just me. They made sure everybody was taken care of and got the fruits and vegetable capsules that they needed while I was making my own soaps and my own lotions, because it just only takes seconds for stuff to absorb in your skin. So I need to make sure that I'm healing my skin and ingesting the proper nutrients as well. So I wanted to get the full transformation, as you say. I didn't want to do one without the other.
Inside and outside. So do you feel that's the way that you...
acne breakouts and like all these things were happening to my skin. And mind you, I lived in Pennsylvania. There was no sun. So I was lacking vitamin D. I was lacking so many things, so I had to put these things in front of me so my soul could be okay, my skin could be okay, my internal organs was okay. Like, I needed the full detox. I couldn't just eat right and still put in lotion on my skin.
Right. Okay. That's one way of looking at it. Yes, from the inside out. So do you feel this is the way that you bring goodness to the world, by leading by example?
Yes, because I am the experiment. I do everything to myself to see if it works. Instead of letting the doctor do it, because he's not going to give me the full disclosure.
True.
I'm still have to do some research. So why not I create what I need for myself instead of putting my life into somebody else's hands?
True. So speaking of doctors, with this whole COVID-19 pandemic, obviously the healthcare industry has come under fire because we don't have a vaccine for many other common ailments, but it only took them a year to get a vaccine for COVID. Not to mention the overflow of COVID patients has made hospitals less accessible to patients with other forms of ailments. It could be thyroid, it could be, cancer. You could be dealing with any other type of ailment outside of COVID. Now, aside from that, you also have people who do make it through that have other ailments, but yet the hospitals are saying that they passed of COVID and it's not COVID. It has something to do, with something else. How do you feel about the current state of healthcare in the U.S.?
There's a lot of misinformation. I think it's a whole money making business. You know what I mean? Like, even down to a C-section, there's no doctor and be like, oh, yeah, we're going to put you in the right position to have this baby. No, they're going to want you to have a C-section because that's more money than me having my baby natural. It's all a money making situation. If they was really there for you, why didn't I talk about no herbs? Why didn't I talk about some natural, normal stuff? Why everything got to be man-made in a lab? And you still can't tell me what's in a vaccine because it's metal. There's things that don't need to be in there. I told the doctor when they were trying to give my baby a tetanus shot because she stepped on a nail, I was like, man, because I know how this works. They're not going to tell me everything that's in that vaccine that you're giving my baby. What if she was allergic to the eggshell?
Right.
That vaccine that you told me later about.
Oh no.
Yeah, I told him give me the list of what's in that tetanus shot. Every tetanus shot ain't a one size fit all. Y'all got different. Y'all got Merck. Y'all got different distributors. Right. So I need to know which distributor.
Right. That is very true, because even with the COVID-19 vaccine, there is Pfizer and there's Moderna. And now they just release that you can take your first shot with Pfizer and then you can take your second shot with Moderna, even though there are no scientific studies that have been done on whether there's side effects for using different brands. So they're allowing people to use two different brands, but there's been no studies on whether it's like they just trying to kill us all. But there's no studies that have been, put out to whether that would be an issue or a problem. Like you said, because there are.
Vaccine. And my vaccine is, it got fruits and vegetables in my vaccine. You feel me? Let me shoot you up real quick so you get some vitamin K, some vitamin D, 1, 2, and 3, maybe some B12. Like, come on now. If they allowed to give you a shot, I'm allowed to get a shot. I don't know, like, I'm very passionate about this because I watched too many people die. Right. 1, because they programmed. 2, they just don't get you. And 3, they just maybe need some help. Maybe they need to be around somebody that's eating right and exercising and going outside and not watching TV all goddamn day. That's true.
That is true. So Madagascar, speaking of shooting up people with fruit vegetables, Madagascar has a cure called COVID Organics. It's in a bottle. Yeah, it's in a bottle. It looks like a juice that you can drink. And I believe it cures you in, I think, about 14 days or something like that. Yeah, and that's how Madagascar.
Why ain't backing this? I don't understand why all these people that got all this authority, they know, they gotta know because they still taking. He ain't got no mask and get some air because that respiratory is weakened. Come on now, like you got this juice, just take it. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, the United States would have to have a relationship with Madagascar in order to import it. And, you know, for them to bring it over here, it's most likely have to go through the FDA or whatever other regulation process before it can be available to the masses. You know how that goes.
That's ridiculous because I got some stuff in my medicine cabinet right now that haven't even been approved by the FDA. So what they talking about? They picking and choosing.
Of course. It's what they do.
That's so bad.
I know you over it. You're totally over it. So what is a life lesson quote that you say you live by? With all things considered, what's the quote that comes to mind to you?
Man, I just want to live better. Like,
you are what you eat.
Yes, that's the one. You are what you eat. You are where you live. You know what I mean? You don't want to get so accustomed to being familiar with that. Just like your taste buds. You gotta change it. Don't be comfortable. Because being comfortable don't allow you to make the good changes that you need because you're too comfortable. It's comfortable. Like, no, like you can't grow. You can't grow like that. You know what I mean? Like, you have to take a chance. You know what I mean? Like, don't doubt yourself. Like, just try it. I go through this all the time. That's why I feed people capsules. Because people have taste bud issues. I don't like this. I don't like that. Because the sugar be calling you. They be calling me too, like crack. Like, it's ridiculous. I'll be waking up 3 in the morning out of my bed, walking to the refrigerator, and I'm eating a drumstick. And I'm like, damn it.
Okay, when you say a drumstick, hold up. When you say a drumstick, okay, to like the queen of snacks over here, I need you to specify. When you say a drumstick, are we talking about chicken or are we talking about ice cream?
Ice cream.
Okay. Just want to make sure the viewers and the listeners know what are we talking about when we say drumstick. You are hilarious. You was definitely a joy. We're definitely going to have you back so we can talk a little bit more, especially on some COVID-19 updates. But I am Queen Evelina, guys. We just been talking to Shealavera on WQEB 97.3. Make sure that you tune in with us at 8 o'clock for the live radio show. And this interview will be coming Saturdays and Sundays on air. Continue to support us, continue to be healthy, and keep you guys and your family and everybody else that you know safe out here. Because obviously we got right now. They trying to feed us every and anything that they think that we're going to take. So please, viewers, be smarter for yourself.